Good evening, all. Today, today I was looking over some notes that I had written and basically giving you guys an introduction of who I am and what my talks will be about as I come on Mondays, preferably closer to 7, between 6 and 7. At least for now, and as the Spirit leads to come on sooner or more or often, I'll do just that. However, I was originally thought I would be giving this my first live speech on my birthday, because that's when I really felt the revelation to share my story with you guys and to encourage someone. And as I said last week, when you see me as one, I stand for 10,000. So I represent all those who are scared to speak, unable to speak, not willing to speak, feel like I have for so many years, private, none of your business. So I'm sharing to encourage you. And as I was reading over my notes, the first time I thought I would speak, I love what I had written, basically just saying that the events that I will share with you on this live are not made up. They're actually events that shaped me to be the woman that I am today. Without these events, I wouldn't be who I am. They shaped me. I've learned to embrace my pain, accept my pain, grieve with no more blame. And in one of my lives, maybe last week or the week before, I mentioned a book entitled Legacy of the Heart, The Spiritual Advantages of a Painful Childhood by Wayne Muller. And basically saying that pain is no one's fault. If we learn to just release the blame and the shame and the hurt and not look at the why, but to grieve our pain, that's where our healing comes in. And I'm here not to receive sympathy or empathy, but just to let you know that I no longer have that victim mentality. Not saying, oh, woe, it's me, but it is me delivering a message of my life that can help you and encourage you in your walk in life. This life that we live is not always an easy walk. So my intention is not to offend, but to walk in freedom and walk being a healed woman, healed from my past, healed from shame, healed from bondage. And I was just looking over my life and realizing that self-help, self-care has always been a part of my life. I've always, since maybe the first time I experienced my divorce, I started doing things by myself, exercising, not so much as exercising, but dating, going out of the country alone, taking solo trips. I've done a lot of meditation, a lot of memorizing scripture, prayer, reading my Bible, meditating, massages, eating healthy, reading self-care books, purchasing cute and quality undergarments, and doing whatever I feel that makes me have a peace of mind. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today. Today, what I want to talk to you about is it's not a one-size-fits-all. And in that topic in itself, it makes you think about when we see the signs in clothing mostly, it's one size fit all. But I want to let you know that this life that we live, this journey that we're living, it's not a one size fit all. Know that you are on schedule. Know that things are on schedule in your life. You just have to make a commitment, as they say, I am ready. I am on time. I am open to healing. I am here. I am forgiven, so I forgive. And the song that was playing that you don't know my story. My worship is for real. Just know that in Romans 8:28, all things work together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So life is not a one size fit all. It's not applicable to all. So what happens for me, what works for me may not always work for you. But we have to be willing to do some self-evaluation, find out where we are in our walk in life, looking at our childhood trauma. As I mentioned a couple in my first few lives, is that mine basically was, being raped at a young age, at the age of 4 and 5, and later in my adolescent childhood, even from family members. In the black culture, they sweep a lot of things under the carpet, or they don't address it, and then we believe that therapy is taboo, which is all not true. Therapy helps us to communicate, to deal with those issues that some of us need professional guidance and knowing how to cope. And I remember going to this Women Thou Art Loose, and one of the speakers said, everybody can benefit from therapy. So don't ever think that going to therapy means you're crazy, or whatever the other sayings or stereotypes come along with that, or whatever negative connotation. Know that therapy is there to help us become who we need to be. And it is also a part of self-care. So don't neglect therapy as you reevaluate your life, and as we reevaluate our lives. Look at where therapy is needed. Where do I need to talk to someone about some things that occurred in my life that I have not processed, that I have not dealt with, so I can become a better me? Who doesn't want to be a better me? And the first part is just identifying that I need help, that there are some issues or some things that are showing up in my life that are coming out, whether it's anger, resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness. All of those things may stem from something that happened in our childhood that we're not able to grasp and comprehend or willing to accept. But once we accept it and embrace it, whether it's acknowledging that hurt, when we can acknowledge that hurt and grieve it, I promise you we'll be better people. It transforms you, helps you to be a better you. It helps your heart to be light. It helps you to love more. It causes you to have more peace. Who don't want peace? Peace is something we can't even buy. So knowing that, and this is not a one size fit all, there is no guarantee. So what worked for me may not always work for you, but you have to know what works for you and do your best to do what it is, and not always listening to other people, what they did, because what they did may not always work for you. You have to know you can try this or try that, but do what works for you and what helps you overcome and what helps you to grieve your own pain. So with that being said, as you evaluate yourself, as we do some self-evaluation, just know that identify what you're feeling. Identify if you're angry. Identify if you're full of resentment. Identify if you are free, and what areas do you feel like you're still in bondage. What areas are causing you not to have peace over whatever it is. And just encourage yourself that it is okay to be wherever you are. Just identify it and allow yourself to grieve, to accept, to embrace, and to mourn that loss and that pain. And so you can forgive and you can move on. I know what I'm just thinking about, even though I've recently just started sharing about my own childhood and my own trauma, especially with being raped at 4 and 5. It's amazing how even at this age, I'm just turning 45, I just realized that I never dealt with that child, and I didn't deal with the grievance of that rape until recently, really last month. I didn't even realize that it had an impact on me until I was in a situation that caused me to feel like, where's all of this stuff coming from? And I realized that, and sometimes even through sexual experiences that we may have with people that we're in relationships with, whether it's marriage, unmarriage, whatever it is. However, when you have sexual engagements, and sometimes certain things can trigger you, and identifying where does that trigger come from, where does that why am I reacting the way I am? Sometimes it's because we haven't dealt with that hurt, we haven't dealt with that childhood trauma. So today what I want you to know is it's not a one-size-fits-all to your solution. You have to know what works for you, what benefits you, what makes you feel the way you need to feel to overcome. One of the things that I said last week, with like Oprah Winfrey was saying, is what feels right to you. So what feels right to you, what helps you through, is what you need to do or use to apply to help you to overcome whatever trauma, whatever pain, and especially if it is rape and any sexual abuse or trauma that you have experienced. One of the things that, before I go, I wanted to share was one of the things that I learned recently is, because I was so young with being raped, and I remember hearing this one time at one of the jobs I worked at, when one of the psychiatrists was just sharing how kids who have gone through trauma experience things so much differently, and what I may consider to be normal may not be normal. It really is abnormal, but I wouldn't know that because I was traumatized at such a young age. So I'm still learning certain things. So don't ever think that you will arrive, or you can, it's just some things you'll just be able to cope with better, you'll be able to understand, and you'll be able to make better choices for yourself. One of the things that I was mentioning in there is that sometimes I don't have a sense of one of the effects of being raped at such a young age is it causes you not to have awareness of dangerous situations. I remember one of the psychiatrists was saying that you can walk down a dark alley and most people would know not to go down there. And it made me reflect, because sometimes I would be walking down dark places, just not because it's like that some part of my brain where it would tell me it's dangerous. I don't have sense of that. So sometimes it's like I have to learn something, or I have to physically experience something, which is not always good, to know that it was dangerous. I shouldn't have did that. Don't try that. So all of that is so very important, to just know who you are, accept who you are, embrace who you are, learn who you are, love who you are, and heal. Healing is so very important. So what I want to encourage you today to remember is that it's not a one-size-fit-all process. We have to know what works for us. Therapy does work. Because you have to talk to somebody, especially if it's some childhood trauma that you have never dealt with. It's good to talk to friends, but it's also good to talk to an expert. And if you require some therapists, or you need to talk to someone, reach out to someone, whether it's on the back of your insurance card. If you need me to help you with someone, you can always inbox me. If you have my number, call me, text me, message me. I'm available to provide you with some other resources. If you feel like this live would help somebody else, share it. You also can look at my YouTube channel under Deborah Gaines, and you can share that as well. So I'm here just to encourage you to share my story. And as I share my story, as I am telling you about my story, it's not only helping you, but it's also helping me. It's not only healing you, but it's also healing me. It's not only encouraging you, but it's also encouraging me to share my story. So I want to thank you guys for listening today. I hope you were able to receive something today that will help you through it. And thank you again for taking the time out to share and to listen to me. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.